Good afternoon. The chicken box is back, y'all. We are back with another action-packed chat, talk, truth-speaking moment. I don't know how everybody's feeling, but I'm feeling great. It's lunchtime for some people. I mean, did being in the pandemic, did that stop lunchtime from being at 12 o'clock? Was that the quote unquote lunchtime? But I'm your host, Kevin Impeccable Peck, and we're talking about Black people versus financial literacy today. I represent the Gen X's. For all my Gen X's in the building, stand up. Dr. Draper, who stands up anymore in Zoom? When is the last time you stand up? You haven't been able to stand up at a concert lately. Dr. Draper, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Impeccable. I am well, thank you. And you asked about lunchtime. During the pandemic, lunchtime has been like all day long. I've got plenty of exercise between my office and the refrigerator. So it's always lunchtime. And then before you know it, it's dinner time. But good to be here again this afternoon with you. You're representing the Gen Xers. I'm representing the baby boomers. And my millennial friend, as we call her, she knows that I am a millennial boomer.
Absolutely. We're getting into it. Financial literacy is the key today. It's Black people versus financial literacy, and my millennial friend. Everybody you can't call a friend, especially even if you've known them for a long time. But we can call you, Misha Green, a friend. Good morning.
Good
afternoon.
morning.
I'm sorry. I want to be on West Coast time.
No, look, and I'm here with you. Good, but yes, good afternoon. I'm super happy to be here today and feeling very blessed to be the millennial friend, the boomer millennial friend, as I like to say. And I'm really excited about today's conversation. I have a whole lot to learn, so I'm really, really excited. And to answer your question about lunch, I have not eaten breakfast yet, so I'm gonna have a cute brunch moment post chicken.
Absolutely. Sometimes I don't even know. Yeah, I haven't had breakfast, lunch, even thought about it. I think it's just 2 bottles of water and I'm going. But anywho, this is a chicken box. If you just tuned in for the first time and you're not from the Baltimore area, because if you are from Baltimore, a chicken box is full wings and fries. That's a staple. If you come, you have to have one. If not, the Afro-American newspaper that's been around for 128 years, who you're probably watching the stream on, we are dispelling stereotypes. We're talking about different type of topics, subjects, and we're educating, we're informing, and we're inspiring, and we're setting the record straight. And sometimes we just want to vent, and so we step up on this box and we speak our truth. So don't be a chicken. Get on the box and speak the truth. The truth today is going to be about financial literacy, and we have a fantastic guest from J.P. Morgan Chase. Her name is Stephanie Jones. Let me just see if Stephanie's with us. Stephanie, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Or should I say good afternoon as well?
You should say good afternoon, because I'm the only one who keeps saying good morning.
Well, I do want to answer your question, though, as far as lunch is concerned. Unlike the ladies on the screen here, I've not done so well with that. I snack all day, probably on the wrong things. Chips, potato chips, ice cream, candy all day long. So I think I'm going to have to start a market with everything with the elastic waistband pretty soon.
Wow, Stephanie. She comes right in, and all I could think about was a double stuffed Oreo cookie. It's no right. It's no right in that. It's no right in that. But this is the Afro. We are focusing on Black wealth, and all month long we have an issue coming up. But you can't talk about wealth without talking about financial literacy. So our guest today is Stephanie Jones. Thank you for joining us, Stephanie. You lead Chase's financial literacy program for underserved communities.
Okay.
Now, I also have a note of what I'm supposed to actually say exactly about you, but my screen, my whole screen just went down. But anyway, Stephanie, thank you for stopping on. You also you manage the execution of a financial literacy program for underserved communities. The goal of your team is to get more members of your community financially fit and educate them on the importance and the benefits of having a bank account. Woo. Does everybody have a bank account out there? Raise your hand if you have a bank account. Anyway, you got to get a bank account. So anyway, welcome to the Chicken Box, Stephanie. You know, when technology, I'm wondering, you guys, as soon as I say African Americans need to get financial literate, everything that could happen wrong this morning was happening wrong on our computers. But if you push through and get that financial literacy, you will see a change in difference. Misha, did I read everything you were supposed to say? Yeah, we have a script, y'all. We not that disorganized. But anyway, welcome again, Stephanie. We're going to get right into it. Dr. Draper has limited time this morning because she has another engagement, but she wanted to jump on. But I wanted to jump in right away. And maybe, Stephanie, you can just tell us what the definition or what you define financial literacy, because a lot of people know wealth and money, and we've heard of finances. But what would your definition be of financial literacy?
You know, when I think about what's happening in our country right now, here's what we know for sure. 46% of Americans cannot come up with $400 in the event of an emergency. 16% of adults can't pay their current bills on time every single month. 25% of adults skip necessary medical care in order to simply buy food. 50% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. Now, those numbers, those stats were pre-pandemic. And what we also know is it hits our Black and brown communities a lot harder than it does every other race or ethnicity. So when I think about financial health, I think about what Gandhi said as far as each one teaching one. And we've got to do a better job at that. And so I'm really excited to work for a company like JP Morgan Chase that really has the commitment not only to provide financial literacy and education, but also think about the right tools and products and services to help as many people as we can to become banked. We want to see everyone banked. And quite frankly, our goal is, if we can, to make sure that as we educate, then we put the responsibility on those that we educate to each one teach one.
Boom. Everybody banked.
Everybody banked.
I mean, like back in the day, if you got banked, that means you got beat up. So, and a lot of people in our community have gotten beat up in some forms of fashion, dealing with a banking situation, and that might be not managing, that might be not budgeting, or that might be just sometimes a bank beating you up. Dr. Draper, I'm so off script. Just jump in. I mean, everything is going through my mind with financial literacy. I even put a little thing, earning, saving, investing, spending, borrowing. You know, I tried to just come with some things that I thought about, but I know you have to go, so I wanted you to chime in early and get on the box about what you think about financial literacy. Because I know growing up, for those who don't know, Dr. Draper is my mother. I know the smile was the same, but anyway, in case you didn't know, but she was always dealing with literacy growing up and on different boards. But I wanted to know, take 30 seconds to get on the box about what you feel about financial literacy.
So financial literacy is absolutely essential. As you know, Kevin, I used to be an account executive with Merrill Lynch, and financial literacy was something that in our community, and that was a long time ago, but I think still today, Stephanie, there are a lot of people, we're talking about banking, but investing and banking and just knowing what that is. Absolutely. Right? And so what I found was that some of my clients who didn't look like me, I mean, they got this real young, right? Saving, investing, banking, really, really young. And we didn't get that same background usually, or we were told not to trust banks, and maybe for good reasons, back in the day as well. And so this is such an important topic that the Afro is devoting this month. So we have this We're Still Here series, and every month we are focusing on one topic. And so this month, April, which I know is also Financial Literacy Month nationally, this month we are focusing on wealth, Black wealth, what it is, how to get it, financial literacy, which is a little bit different. But when you are financially literate, you can get wealth. A lot of times people say, well, I just want to have money. Right. But how are you going to get there? Where are you going to spend your money? Where are you going to invest your money? What's the biggest bang for your buck? And as you said, what are the best practices just for handling your everyday affairs, right? So the accountants will tell you that cash is king, but how do you hold on to that cash and make it grow? You can't just put it. We did a show already, a chicken box on Black people versus the mattress. You can't just put it under the mattress. It's not going to grow there.
It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. It keeps it there, right? I told you all I had an aunt who she always had $100 bill under the mattress, literally under the mattress, right? But all of us knew where it was, but we didn't dare touch it. But that's not going to grow for us to have it under the mattress. So important topic. Glad that you are here, and thank you for all that JP Morgan Chase is doing in the African American community, and thank you for your really laser focus on this issue.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. And, you touched on so many points that just resonate with me. And you're right, Doctor. These are not conversations that we typically have had in the past at our dinner tables, right, in the Black and brown communities. And so we know that. And so we've got to make sure that we are educating. And as we think about building wealth, right, we need to get more of our people in the stock market. Mm-hmm. And so when we think about financial literacy, that's one of the things that we are focused on, is making sure that we provide that knowledge and understanding about the stock market, because it's a scary thing to some people. And what you don't know tends to be a little scary, right? And so the more we educate, and you can start small, so we want to make sure not only are people saving, not under the mattress, to your point, but, making sure that they're banked with the bank and saving, but also understanding, how do you build wealth? Mm-hmm. And that is, you have to get into the stock market, right? That helps. That is ownership. That's right.
Correct. And you have to have disposable income. So, you don't recommend that people go into the stock market and you don't have 3-6 months worth of cash on hand in case of an emergency. And so it's got to start with the accumulation of money beyond, I'm getting my paycheck, and that's going to cover half of my rent from last month because it's already late. And then I'm going to get my next paycheck and make up the other half. And so now when I get that in mid-April, then I'm still paying March.
That's right.
We have to have a better management of our finances, and also learn how to pay down debt and how to increase our credit score. And it's not really rocket science, but it seems like it, because we just get burdened with so much debt, and sometimes our pay is not at a level where we can really afford to invest. So many things that are there, but I'm jumping off the box.
No, it's right on. You're actually right on. And when I think about it, we do teach financial literacy, and we have something that we use called Your Financial Journey. And to your point, reducing debt is a big part of that, right? And building your credit score, along with savings and everything else that we've talked about. Those are some critical things that you've hit. So you're not going on and on. Those are right on. You are right on.
So Misha, from the millennial point of view, first of all, nobody likes to hear literacy because it just sounds like a word that's going to make you sick. But then, but you don't want to be illiterate, because, when you fall into that category, it makes you feel a certain way. And I'm going off the wagon for a second, but most of the gentlemen in jail, one time I sat next to a gentleman on the plane who was really teaching literacy in prison, and found out that most of them had a different learning style. And when they felt inadequate about learning in school, they acted out so they can get out of being called on and being, embarrassed to themselves for not knowing the information. And then that led them to hanging with different crowds, getting kicked out of school. And his push was literacy in the prison, after he found out that 70% of them barely had a third grade education. And so what grade are we getting in the Black community for our literacy financially? From a bank account to trusting banks, to even being able to think about, okay, we've never thought that the stock market was for us. Not that African Americans aren't in the stock market, but I'm talking about as a whole, that thinking doesn't come into play. But anyway, Misha, that hit me. And I think you're on mute, but come on into the conversation about the millennials and the literacy that you guys have toward this subject, finance.
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna stay on mute when I'm not talking because I'm getting a little bit of an echo, and I'm praying it's not me.
No, it's fine.
Okay, good. So yeah, I think the millennial perspective on financial literacy differs. I have admittedly not as much knowledge in terms of earning, saving, investing that I learned at least in college or high school or in a learning environment. I just didn't get that. In college, we had a lot of opportunities to talk about paying back student loans and saving during that time. And I went to Fordham University, which I was for sure, as a Black woman, I was a minority, but I think, a lot of the people I went to school with came from very wealthy families and, not on scholarship and things like that. And so I think for a lot of my peers, it wasn't even very important. And so thus, I don't think I took it as seriously as I should have. But I have other friends who are very, very who are very financially literate, who explain things to me, who have helped me understand the stock market. And as a journalist, of course, I've had to dive deep into the understanding of the economy and things like that in a different way. But I have to tell you, I'm really thankful to have the opportunity to interview so many people from JP Morgan Chase for the past few months, because I've learned a lot having to research and learn from the experts about financial literacy and what that really means.
Absolutely. Dr. Jones, I'm going to call you Dr. Jones. I made you a doctor. Stephanie, you could be anything you want on the chicken box. I mean, we can imagine. But Stephanie Jones, are there stereotypes in our community about financial literacy that you've heard of?
Yeah, there's a lot of stereotypes in our communities, unfortunately. Yeah, I think instead of focusing on that, I think I want to focus on, the fact that Black people don't care about money, and we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we absolutely do care about our children, and we want our next generation to be better than, the current generation. But I don't think that the opportunities are always lined up for those opportunities to be fair. And so one of the things that Misha just said, as far as her knowledge and learning things in school, we do know that there's opportunity for the schools to do a better job about teaching financial education, right? Especially when we get to folks or children when they're young and start teaching them very, very young. So part of what we're doing, my team and I, is making sure that we get to those universities and teach financial education. And, HBCUs are a huge focus for us to make sure that we're providing that knowledge and that expertise, so that when students come out of school, they're ready to enter society and the world, and they have a full understanding and knowledge about financial literacy.
Absolutely. Dr. Draper, I know you are on a tight, probably minute left.
Right, about a minute left.
Before we let you jump off, I just wanted to see if you had anything to add. Just want to respect your time always.
No worries. I just want to say I love what Stephanie said about the HBCUs and even younger. Financial Literacy Month began, I understand, right, maybe 2 decades ago, just as youth literacy, right? It was youth literacy, then it was Literacy Week, and now it's a National Financial Literacy Month. But we have to do a better job. And a lot of times we can't teach what we don't know. And so we have to teach it from all angles, from HBCUs and all generations. And even though, sometimes people believe, well, if you're older, then not necessarily, not just because in fact, if you're older, you may know less because it was not taught any place. I mean, when I came through school, the most you knew about financial literacy were, U.S. savings bonds. That was it. Y'all don't know nothing about savings bonds. Y'all are too young to know about saving. But it was savings bonds, or put a dime in a card or something, or S&H green stamps. I know I'm really aging myself, dating myself now. But it was not a lot about saving. You heard people say saving for a rainy day, but not about saving. And so we have to change the mindsets, right? That we don't raise $1,018, as we talked about last week, to buy tennis shoes, or even $500 for tennis shoes, and we don't leverage, the money that we have. And I hear people say sometimes, well, I can't afford to invest. You can't afford not to. We don't have to spend 100% of everything that we have, right? And so my last parting words, and this was to myself, I had to do this for myself. Take a look at my own financial picture first and say, you know what, if I'm going to use this credit card, and I have credit cards, and I'm not bragging about this, I just don't have credit card debt. This is my rule. It took a while to get to this, by the way, y'all. I didn't come out like that. What I say is, I'm going to use this card, I have to be able to pay it off before I incur an interest charge. So what I do is I watch the date, the closing date on my credit card statement, right? And I purchase something right beyond that date, so I get an extra month. Does that make sense? So when the statements get ready to cut off, I don't want to do it right there and before the statement cuts off, because I want to do it after, like the day after. So it won't be on the next bill, but it'll be on the one after that. And that took a lot of discipline, because I was used to buying what I wanted to buy when I wanted to buy it. Mm-hmm. But that didn't work, because what was happening was I was charging $500, paying the minimum, and forever paying off $500. Yeah. And that just doesn't work. And so they say you only have to pay $35 a month. All right, you pay $35 a month. 30 of it goes to interest, and $5 goes against the principal. And I said, wait a minute, this is crazy. So I don't buy anything now that I can't get 24 months interest free on. If they can't give me interest free, I don't care what kind of purchase it is. Now I got to be able to figure it out. Then when they say, okay, you only have to pay this, you got 24 months. I said, no, I have 24 months. I borrowed $1,000. I'm going to divide it by 24, and that's how much I'm going to commit to paying. So that worked for me, but it took me a while to get there. And I realized how much money I was paying out in interest and not getting anything back for it. So I'm again off the box about that, but it took me a while to get there, because nobody was teaching us that. Yeah. Nobody was teaching us, if you want to get out of debt, pay off the low-hanging fruit, get rid of those first, and then tackle the big ones. And take that money that you were using to pay the little bill and add it on. Don't spend it. Add it on to the big bill and have a plan to retire the debt.
I agree with you. I could not agree with you more. And, I would just add one more tidbit to that, because that was absolutely perfect, is, start with your largest interest that you have if you're trying to reduce your debt. Mm-hmm. Start paying more on that first and pay down as much as you can. The more you can reduce the interest charges, the more money you will have available to either start paying down the next debt or to start putting some of that money into a savings account.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. I'm sorry. This is a fascinating conversation. I'm going to jump off for another call. Stephanie Jones, I am so glad. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for JP Morgan's Chase's partnership with the Afro. You guys were there for Black Business Matters. And we are hoping that when we do it again in 2022, that we can count on you to be there as well. And so talk to everybody later. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm jumping off.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. If you just tuned in, this is the Chicken Box you're watching. We're talking about Black people versus financial literacy. We have a guest from JP Morgan, Executive Director Stephanie Jones, hanging out with us, making a difference in the community. And we'd like to shout out Lenore, Rachel, Craig Talley. Guys, Craig Talley, he has a plan. He does something with insurance. He's a friend of mine. But Craig, put your contact information. If somebody wants to really, he has a couple other plans to help you reduce your debt. Put your contact information. We got CC hanging out with us, Byron, of course, and some other people. If you're feeling good and you're learning something today about your finance, just put a 1 in the chat. We like the interactive. We love to be able to see the audience. Originally, Chicken Box was supposed to be a live audience. We were supposed to have conversations with great people like Stephanie and eat some fried chicken around the table, or grilled chicken, or whatever kind of chicken you like, because it makes you smile. When you come and you sit down and you see some nice chicken sitting at the table and you're a little hungry. I've never seen anybody come who likes chicken come and sit in front of it and not smile. But anyhow, financial literacy. Thank you, Danielle, for putting a 1 in the chat. And thank you, Dr. Draper, if you're looking at this later, for your tidbit. Because we got to get it together, people. We got to get out of debt. We got to get a plan into place, because we know how to earn and we know how to spend money in everybody else's community. But have we figured out our financial literacy? Stephanie Jones, what is on your heart and mind when you say you guys are going into the communities? What is JP Morgan Chase's plan and I guess goal as you guys enter into these underserved communities with banking centers?
Wow. So when I think about that, and it's a great question, we do a lot of listening. We know we don't have all the answers, and we will actually listen. We'll do roundtables and listen to the community, for the community to tell us at times, how can we help? Where do you want us to focus? And we go back, and there's a team that actually works on making sure we've got the right products and services to be able to help communities. And so it makes me think of, our Chase Secure accounts. That's an account that helps people, and we have a commitment to deliver 1 million of those in 2021. But it's a low-cost checking account to help people who are new to banking, or maybe they've had a problem with banking in the past. And it's $4.95 a month. And the great thing about that account is that there's guardrails in place, and it doesn't allow for overdraft. So those nasty overdraft fees.
Man, I was waiting to get to that, because we know everybody out there has been hit.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you don't know that you can just call your bank, right? Guys who are getting hit with overdraft, and say, I don't want, when my account hits 0, don't let me charge anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes you need that, because you wake up with $350 worth of overdrafts because they keep trying to charge it and keep trying to put it through, and they keep racking. Anyway, go ahead, Stephanie.
No, you're absolutely right. But contrary to popular belief, that's not how we want to make our money. We want to make sure that people are banked. And so, this product has the guardrails built in place. If you've got $350 in your account, to your point, you can spend $350 in your account, right? Not $400, and we're going to charge you overdraft fees. That's not going to happen with this product or this account. And so, we're pretty excited about it. And so JP Morgan Chase has a commitment to deliver a minimum of 1 million accounts this year. And that's been our challenge, that make sure that happens. So yes, we're listening. We're listening.
Underserved. We got underserved banking. We got underserved food deserts. We got we have communities that need to be served. And, and it's great to have a servant attitude, as we go, because people need to be handled with love. Just because you haven't gotten the information yet doesn't mean that you're not going to get it. Okay. And that's the beautiful part about not only partnerships with people who have it, but also about the Afro-American newspaper, and about you for your, they say every answer that you're looking for in life is unlocked with the right question. Now, if you haven't before today thought about questioning your finances, today's the day to question. And if you didn't think you needed to question it, when the pandemic hit, for a lot of people, you figured out that maybe you can't live for 2 years without earning income, or a year, or 3 months, or a week. I don't know where that hit you, because a lot of people's situations changed in the pandemic, during this pandemic, and it really made you say, we really, really have to get a grip on our financial literacy. But it's a lot of stereotypes out there, Misha. And what are you hearing on those digital streets? Because I always like to know what the stereotypes are so that we can dispel those myths and really move forward into getting the education that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I thank Stephanie so much because she's already mentioned some of the stereotypes and said, and dispelled it in such a way that I think will help people as you listen along today. I do want to just remind you all that these are solely stereotypes and not necessarily views of the Afro. And just to jog you all's memory about the definition of financial literacy, what I found online on Investopedia is financial literacy is the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills, including personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. I think that Stephanie's definition was a lot stronger, but there you go. And so here are the stereotypes. Black people are not financially literate. Black people are not taught financial literacy. Financial literacy won't play a role in the Black community because of systemic issues stopping from economic growth. Black people must be financially literate in order to grow. Black financial literacy is a bit more in depth than actual financial literacy. And financially literate Black people hold the knowledge for themselves. And these are just stereotypes. But definitely all over the internet and social media are these really almost contradictory views about financial literacy in the Black community.
Absolutely. You just joined us. We just popped up on your thread. Share this information. The little share button, a little arrow that goes, just click on the share button because it might not be for you. You might be financially fit, but there's somebody that we all know who isn't because they probably are asking you to borrow money. And some people, my old pastor used to say, you can get rid of for $100. You loan them $100, they will be like in the witness protection program somewhere, gone. You will never see them again looking for your money. But we're trying to get financially fit. That was one of the things that we read that you were helping do, Stephanie. What do you mean? Are we working out? What are we doing? What's financially fit means?
Financially fit really means understanding how much money you have coming in and how much money you have going out, and really managing it. I talk to a lot of people about money, and sometimes I will hear, I've got it all up here, it's in my head. No, you actually have to put it on paper, right? Or Misha's generation will tell me to do a spreadsheet, right? If you're knowledgeable enough to do the spreadsheet, have at it. I think it's great, right? Do the spreadsheet. But put it down on paper because you have to write that commitment down and stick to that commitment. And, when you think about it, even if you started to save $1 a day, just $1 a day, maybe it's putting down the donut, maybe it's a cup of coffee, I don't know. But if you can find $1 a day, that's $365 at the end of the year. So when I think about it from that perspective, I think that we can start thinking about money a little bit differently and thinking about how we spend it and then how we teach our children, that next generation, because that's so critical for us as people of color, to make sure that our children understand the value of $1, right? And what it means. But the one thing I do want to share, because I want to make sure we do this since it's Financial Literacy Month, we actually built a microsite for financial literacy. And so I'd like to give it to your audience if that's okay. And it's
absolutely. And we'll try to type it or yeah, that's going to be. Anyway, go ahead. Give it to us. And we'll get it in there for sure. Misha will get it because I'm looking at these little fonts. I'm like, you know what? Let me just let Stephanie just do it.
I'm with you there. Okay. I'm with you there. But the microsite that we built is www.chase.com/financial goals. And I would encourage anyone listening to go to that site and take a look at that site because we put some great information in there. And, if there's any questions you have, we've got over 5,000 branches. go into one of our branches and sit down with one of our bankers and talk to them about your plans. We are always happy to help. And we always want to talk to you about what your financial goals are so that we can help. So please go to that site.
Absolutely. Are you talking to people over the phone during this time? Because I know a lot of banking, you know, and because of the COVID running out there, I don't know how many people are meeting in person. Some states are different, you know, but are you able to have I don't want to call it face-to-face Zooms or calls with the banks over the internet or over the phone?
Yes. So the great news is with over 5,000 branches, we have our branches open, and we practice safety in our branches. And so our branches are cleaned, and, you know, we're wearing masks. So to make sure that we protect our employees as well as our customers in the branch. So we do have some in-person, but we also have the luxury of technology. And so there is Zoom. And so when we work with some of our community partners, or we work with nonprofit organizations, or even some of our commercial partners to teach financial literacy, Zoom has become our best friend, to your point. And the nice thing about that is that it can be recorded, and, you know, you can play it at any time and go back, or, you know, you can join us at a lunch break. So yes, we're taking advantage of as much technology as we can during this time. It's taught us a lot during the pandemic.
Absolutely. The bank account, y'all. Let's think about it. If you have a bank account, just throw a money sign in the chat. You know, if you're living off of prepaid cards and you cash apping it only, or, you know, I think you can have a cash app card without a bank account. Because I know some people that have done work for me, and I'm going to try to wire them some money, and they like, I'm cash app only. You know what I mean? So, what does the bank account? What doors do the bank account open for you? Like, what are the benefits of having a bank account?
Yeah, if you don't mind, if I can go back, Misha, I noticed the website you had up had a little typo in there. So it's www.chase.com/financial goals. I think you had the word personal in there.
Oh, yeah. I got it directly from Chase's website.
Okay. So take it to, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. So, you know, I'm not sure, Impeccable, if that question was for me or if the question was for Misha.
It was definitely for you. I'm just saying, I'm like, you guys are coming into the account and you have a goal of opening X amount of bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And for a person who doesn't have a bank account,
Mm-hmm.
I want them to know what the importance of having a bank account does. What does the bank account actually do for them?
So it depends on the type of bank account. So if you have a checking account, it helps you to manage your everyday and every month expenses, right? So when we talked earlier about reducing debt and we talked about budgeting, a bank account, having a checking account helps you to manage that. And then with the Chase Secure product, you become part of the Chase family. So you have access to our array of products and tools and services that we have available to you to help you to learn about a lot of the things that we're talking about. If you go to our website, we've got information about savings. We've got information about reducing debt. We've got information about investing. So it helps you from that perspective. Now, if it's a savings account, then it's pretty much the obvious, right? Saving for the rainy day, as the doctor mentioned, right? Saving for that purchase, that first home that you may be looking for. Maybe it's saving for a special vacation, or maybe it's a 529 account to help your child or grandchild go to college, right? Using that money for college. So being banked has many, many benefits. As the doctor mentioned, putting your money under the mattress, that's not going to help you reach your financial goals. So that's not going to do it. So being banked is very, very important.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that point up. And also, if you have a relationship with a bank, which you should, right? When it's time to make purchases such as vehicles, homes, investment properties, you would hope that the relationship you have with the bank would be your most first friendliest source to really help you get things done. But Misha, the time is coming up, and I'm gonna get back on script. Everybody, this is Black People versus Financial Literacy. If you just tuned in, thank you, everybody. Is that Shauna? She had a money sign in. CC, before we go, I'm gonna add. Let me see. I'm gonna bring up CC's question and see if we can. What ways can we set our children up to have good credit at the age of 18? If we are properly overseeing our finances, we should also make sure the generations to come are coached. Good financial habits, health, wealth, and walk into good credit scores by a certain age.
Yeah. So I think that's an excellent question, and when I think about our youth, right, our youth really is tomorrow, right? They're representing us for tomorrow. And I think the earlier we get to them, the better. And so if we are fortunate enough to give our children an allowance, and let's just say the allowance is $5 a week for a chore that child does, maybe it's cleaning their room, or maybe it's taking out the garbage, maybe it's babysitting, I don't know. But teaching that child early on that the $5 that we give you, can you take $2.50 of it and start saving it so that you can start to watch that money grow, and encourage that child to have something that they may want to buy or purchase. Maybe it's a favorite toy, or maybe it's a new bike, or maybe it's a new video game. But helping them to understand very early on that saving for that goal is important. And taking money that you earn and taking a percentage of it and saving it, if you can, that's going to help you to achieve your long-term financial goals. But we certainly need to get to our children very, very young. I saw one of the viewers mention earlier to get to high school students. I agree. But I also think we can start as young as elementary school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Children, contrary to the stereotypes, are very bright. Our children are very smart. Right?
They're smart enough to shop on Amazon and ask for your credit card. So that means that they can figure it out. I'm with you 100%, Stephanie. Now there's another side of money. If you have a spiritual background, right? And this is not about one way of thinking, but if God is in your life, you may have a different kind of plan, right? Because God, for me, is in the multiplication business, and he'll multiply your money faster than and I like how you said put a certain aside. So at a young age, I learned 10% to God, 10% to myself, and then I invest 10% and I live off 70.
I like it.
Now, I don't know if that'll work for you guys out there, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. I've been tithing since 1991, and I've done some budgets where I had way more month than money, and I can't even explain, guys, how it worked out. But the only thing I can say is that God worked it out, because he is, according to me, okay, I'm speaking for myself now, gives us the ability to get wealth and get money, and his system is a little bit different than the systems that we hear about, right? Not that you should use those systems, but if you can plug into his system first, you want to see some doors open up. I can be a witness for it right now. Let's go 10% to God, 10% to yourself. You work hard, pay yourself 10%, and then invest 10%. Now you can save 10. You can save that 10%. Sometimes you can treat yourself. You can do something. Just do something for yourself. You're not working all day long just to pay a bill. You have to treat yourself good. But then invest 10%. That investment could be in that savings account one, or it could be an investment vehicle, like you said, Stephanie, of stocks, some other kind of vehicle that can help grow your money, or insurance product that a lot of times we don't know about in the African American community, that a lot of other communities have used insurance to get wealthy over the years as well. So that's just Impeccable's little secret. Shh, don't tell nobody. Are we streaming live still? Anyway, go ahead. Misha, jump in. What role has African Americans played in this whole economic establishment of financial literacy?
Well, so much. I mean, we've all said it on this conversation today, that the Black dollar is really important to the economy. And so we play a major role. I mean, even before we were making money for our work, if that makes sense, and when our bodies were seen as value. And so it has been historic that African Americans are important to the economy, and yet not necessarily receiving the financial literacy that they need in order to survive, quite frankly. And so, as I said, African Americans play a vital role in the economic establishment of the United States, but in comparison to their white counterparts, they still lag in financial wellness. According to Money Talk with Tiff, which is a blog, financial literacy is one of the main reasons behind this complex gap. Financial literacy and financial wellness are tightly intertwined, especially for African Americans. And so in this survey, Tiff found that only 38% of the answers that were answered correctly, only 38% of answers about financial literacy were answered correctly by African Americans, compared to 55% from white people. Black people's best score was on information about borrowing and managing debt. Black people's lowest score was in comprehending risk and uncertainty, insuring, investing, and go-to information sources. And which, again, I think is why we need people like Stephanie on the show, to know that there's so many information sources out there and available. And of course, the wealth gap is still a thing. And so white families are almost 6 times wealthier than Black families. The median Black family income right now is $45,200, while the white privilege is $142,500. And so that's almost 3 times greater than the Black median family income. So there's that wealth gap that definitely plays a role in Black wealth, in that Black wealth conversation that we were having all month long. But financial literacy will help so much. And so having Black financial advisors is one of the things that a lot of financial literacy experts, particularly focusing on the Black community, think is really, really important. There's so much mistrust around money in the Black community. We've talked so much about not having Black Americans not feeling comfortable with opening bank accounts, et cetera. And so having someone that looks like you and that representation can make such a difference in getting that information across. And again, that's why we need people like Stephanie to help us out, but also people like you who are tuning in to share this information, share this stream, because it'll be here as long as we have Facebook and YouTube. And so make sure this information gets out to our communities.
Yep, and even if they shut down, we have afro.com, because we know the internet's not shutting down. So we just broadcast on here because we can reach a diverse audience. We thank everybody who's always been a part of the Afro-American News for 128 years of informing, educating, and inspiring. And Stephanie put a alarming fact that, what I think 90%, did you say, of businesses fail in the first 5 years?
50%. So
50, is it 50?
50%, half.
Oh, half. I thought it was higher than that.
That's 50%, but that was pre-pandemic. Remember, but that was pre-pandemic.
Right.
Those data, that data now is a lot higher with the pandemic. But something that Misha said, I just want to talk about just a teeny bit, if I may.
Go ahead.
Mentioned about having Black advisors and having people that look like us in our communities. I have to tell you, that's one of the things that I'm very proud of, to say that I work for this company, Chase, that focuses to make sure that we have the diversity in our branches that represent the communities in which we serve. Because you're right, we absolutely know that it's not just in the Black community. We know that if you go into, let's say, an Asian community, they want to walk into a branch and see someone that looks like them, right? There's something about that connectivity, that relatability. that you're able to have those conversations. And so, Misha, thanks for bringing that point up. That's something else during our listening sessions that we've heard from the communities. And so we absolutely are making sure that our branches are as diverse as we can to reflect the communities in which we serve.
Absolutely. This is something. This is just a little fire starter, guys. This is to check your literacy, not and whether you can read, because we know you mainly can do that. Well, not whether you can Google and watch a YouTube. We know you can do that, but are you doing that about financial literacy? What's your plan? Are you putting your plan into place? How many people have a budget? Hello, somebody, anybody, everybody. No, everybody's not raising their hand, but you know, and I'm gonna be. This is just transparent, open, and honest right here, guys. I don't have a budget. My wife has a budget. Once my whole now this is totally off this is not financial literate, guys, but I'm just gonna be honest. I need to get a budget. I need to get my stuff together. But it's some great apps that have it. But like I said, I come from I'm in a kingdom mindset when it comes to money. So I kind of flow in a different way, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't use the tools that are available. Y'all, we got to get it together, and we got to be honest about how we handle situations, how we handle our finances, and how we teach our kids, because they don't teach these things. Not really. And hopefully Chase can bring maybe some classes that go from elementary, you know, like some kind of programmatic learning that can go all the way from, I almost said nursery school, from whenever they can count, you know what I mean? Whenever your children can count, they can figure it out. Okay, I have this many, this one goes here. Okay, if I put it in here, if I'm giving it away, this one goes here, if I'm saving it. And now this one goes here. Can I buy something with that? Oh, no, I can't buy something yet. But next month, if I add it on, what else can I do? I have a child, and you know, who always says, "Is it anything I can do to earn some extra money?" That warms my heart. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times your children are just asking you for money all the time. But if they begin to ask and they understand and they can correlate that they can add value or do something, and you give them money, because taking out the trash is not a job, guys. That is your rent for eating in the house, cleaning your room and doing your chores. That's, you know, you have a roof over your head and you have food. But we have a lot of times in this new generation really spoiled our kids, and we got to get back not only to getting them in order, but getting ourselves in order. So we got a few minutes. We're gonna get on the box. Thank you, CC. I can't pronounce your name, brother, but that looks like Righteous Bang, Pros Jackson. Okay. Also Lenore for tuning in, and it was another name. I think it's Quellian. I might be pronouncing that wrong. If I am, I'm gonna call you Q, and then we just gonna hopefully that squares it away. But man, people are putting it in the chat. They're helping us spread the word. And how are you helping? By sharing. Just share this message. It's going to resonate with somebody. They're going to get their budget in order. They're going to get their financial in order. They're going to look to JP Morgan Chase, as they have said that they want to be in the underserved communities. And so they are planting their flag in the community. And they have people who look like us who are going to help us, not mislead us, but help us get our financial literacy in order. So, Misha Green, we got a few minutes left. Is there an Afrofact this week?
It is in.
Okay, because we know we have an extensive archive, y'all. 128 years of archive that correlate pretty much with a time in history and then a time right now. And sometimes I can't tell when I hear some of these stories whether we're talking about now or then. So, Misha, real quick on this week's Afrofact.
Yes, this week's Afrofact is inspired by the April 7th, 1953 edition of the Afro, and our headline read, "Church Backs Pastor in Paternity Case." The article is about how a pastor, Reverend Arthur Jones, was accused of fathering the child of an 18-year-old choir member. Claiming illness, Reverend Jones was present but didn't preach the Eastern sermon and instead had his son, Reverend Arthur Jones Jr., preach, who was also associate pastor. And the Afro originally broke the story about the pastors allegedly getting the teen pregnant. So the son admitted his father had sinned, but questioned who hasn't. The teen mother and her 7-week-old baby were not present for the Easter Sunday service or sermon. And that's this week's Afrofact.
That's more than financial literacy, boy. He's gonna be losing. He's out the church. He got to pay child support. Phew, his finances are now.
I'm like, the Afro was Maury before we had Maury, right?
And they went and got the dirt on that one. But that happened. That this is the same time period, and as we gear up. All right, I don't want to get too hard on that because we can all go there. Our minds can go all the way down the street, and everybody has done something. It just seems amplified when you're in a position of power, and it is. So when you're there, you need to really respect the position and respect who you affect when you're in that position, and don't be so selfish and just make decisions based on emotions. But they happen anyway. Dr. Jones, I'm gonna make you a doctor, okay? Dr. Stephanie Jones. You are a financial literate doctor, okay? You gonna get us fit, and we hope you don't become a stranger to the Afro. You always have a voice here, because we want to talk about the things that aren't normally talked about, and those will be the things that sometimes in our community won't get the most likes, won't get the most views, but those who are meant to see it will see it, and hopefully they'll be able to share it with somebody else. So. You can get on the chicken box. This is where you speak your truth. Anything you feel. I know you work with JP Morgan, but you might need to just say something that's just that's just on your heart that you really want to share, or just your final words.
Well, the only thing I want to share right now is thank you for what you're doing. This is just so important. To have this topic talked about. And, Afro News has been around for a long time. It's well respected in the community. And so I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. It's been my pleasure to be here today. Thank you for having me, and happy to come back anytime. So just let me know. But thank you for what you're doing.
You are quite welcome. We're gonna be here, y'all. One day we're working on our new headquarters in Baltimore, and everybody's not in Baltimore because this goes worldwide. We're in Africa. We're all over the world with the internet. But when you come, we're having a studio built. One day when we open up, we're going to get this chicken. We're going to get this chicken jumping. I think we might make it a slash quasi cooking show. Like, we're going to talk about something, but then we're going to pan over to the camera, to the kitchen, and just have some good food. And we're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation about everything, full life, full circle. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to dispel the stereotype, and we're going to move forward, you guys. We got to move forward with information and with power and with wisdom and with intellect. I'm off the box. Misha Green, my millennial friend, I'm gonna let you have the final word, and then we're gonna go on about our day, and we're gonna eat breakfast, dinner, lunch, or whatever we haven't had yet today.
Yes, I am excited about the food that we are going to, but I do want to emphasize that you all can check out all the amazing information that JP Morgan has for you, not only on the JP Morgan Chase website, www.chase.com/financial goals, or as I put it before, it redirects you to something that says personal/financial goals. But either way, you'll be in the right place. And that next week we have the Black Wealth We're Still Here special edition, which will not only feature an article based off of this interview today, but also other great resources from JP Morgan Chase and a lot of financial experts in the Black community who are giving us everything we need to know, as well as history on Black wealth and pockets of Black wealth here in the United States. You guys do not want to miss our We're Still Here special edition, and we thank JP Morgan Chase so much for being a sponsor on this Black Wealth special edition.
Pleasure. Thank you.
All right, everybody, listen, go to afro.com. If you don't have a digital subscription or a legacy, That's afro.com. And for less than $2, Uber Eats. I need a sponsorship. Where's my advertising people? Can we get a sponsorship from Uber Eats? Because I say that every week. For less than that, you can get a digital subscription, because it takes money, guys, to have reporters and bloggers, videographers, just people to run, people like Misha Green in DC. We got to pay these people so that they can tell the truth to our community. We are not the other news channels who are misleading you. You are going, when you hear it at the Afro, you are going to hear the truth, and the truth that needs to be heard. Now, if you mess up, hey, we're going to spank you, but we're not going to drag you, beat you down, and throw you, throw you in the gutter and do away with you. But we're going to tighten you up a little bit, but then we're going to love on you. But we're going to give you the information that makes you effective in your life and in your total life. So thank you again, Stephanie Jones. Thank you, JP Morgan Chase, for sharing you with us today, and to help us get our financial literacy together, people. Let's get it together. It's a new year. Yep, every day is a new year. I know. You think it's only in January 1, but you can start your new year right now. You can turn over and say, I'm going to get my financial literacy together. Don't have to wait till January 1st of next year to get your stuff in order. Do it now, because you don't know what the future is going to bring. Until next week, everybody, I'm your host, Kevin Impeccable Beck, Misha Green, and Dr. Stephanie Jones. She's going to go back to school, y'all, on us. We will see you soon on the Chicken Box. Have a great day, everybody.